Oh, hi there! Welcome to another episode of the Okanagan Gardener and Forager channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about a plant that's often overlooked both literally and figuratively, but it actually has a whole bunch of edible and medicinal uses, and there's some of them right here under my tomatoes. Plantain. Plantain. This one here is common plantain or broadleaf plantain. There's quite a few different species of plantain you can find, and as it just so happens, there's another one right here. This one here is narrowleaf plantain. This one right here, that's an onion. Narrowleaf plantain. This is narrowleaf plantain, Plantago lanceolata, and broadleaf plantain or common plantain, Plantago major. And you can find them pretty much all over the world now. They're pretty resilient plants. These ones actually were ripped up early in the season and then were replanted after sitting in a dry bucket for a day, and they survived and they're doing quite well now. And they're not very flashy, and most of the time people probably step on them and don't think much of them. And they are, some of the qualities that make them useful include their cooling, demulcent, anti-inflammatory, astringent, anti-microbial, alterative, expectorant, that's something that helps you cough things out, and it's a vulnerary, it's a wound healer. And so I'll tell you some of the uses for them, but what I'll say also, the narrowleaf plantain and the broadleaf plantain, you can use them pretty much interchangeably. Here's one of the flowering spikes, and I wanted to show this first because I think they're kind of cool. It looks sort of like, I don't know, like something orbiting, like little satellites orbiting the plant. These right here, the flowers are pretty inconspicuous. Most of the time you don't even see them, and wanted to show them first because maybe I'd forget about them otherwise. Yeah, but to ID plantain, most of the time people probably would just step right over them and not even think much of them, but they are fairly easy to identify, I think. They have these leaves which they're like elliptic to egg shaped, and they have parallel veins running down them. And when you, like an older leaf, if you break it off, well, that didn't work out. There, they have the whatever strings that stick out of them, and the leaf edges are undulating or wavy, and this is the broadleaf plantain, and the narrowleaf plantain is basically the same sort of characteristics, but just the leaves are a lot longer, and you can see, I think the veins are more clear on the narrowleaf one because they run longer, I guess. But the broadleaf plantain and the narrowleaf one, they grow in a basal rosette, grow low to the ground, and the roots, they're perennial, and they have fibrous roots, and the leaves themselves, they're about 3 to 30 centimeters long, and the flowering spikes, they grow maybe up to 60 centimeters long, and the seed capsules, once they start dropping their seeds, they look pretty brown like this. You can see the seeds all over here, but when they're younger, they look kind of like this, a light green color. Plantain is edible. It could be, a lot of the time, more nutritious than some of the other plants. When we pull plantain out of the garden, the plantain might be more nutritious than the things we're letting grow. It is a good source of vitamins A, C, K, and potassium. It can be eaten raw or cooked. The younger leaves have a better flavor. I think I've seen it described as tasting sort of like Swiss chard. They're a little bitter, so you can't eat them raw. Some people like the bitter flavor mixed in a salad or whatever. But if you wanted to, you could cook them and then change the water, and that would remove some of the bitter flavor. And when they get older, they get kind of stringy, and the bitterness gets stronger. So if you wanted to eat the older leaves, you could cut them up, and then the stringiness wouldn't be as noticeable, wouldn't be as bad. Yeah, definitely taste bitter older. And the seeds are also edible. You can grind them up into a meal and use them as a flour replacement. Plantain has quite a few medicinal uses. Its overall effect could be described as being cooling and useful to counteract hot conditions like redness, swelling, and inflammation. Topically, it has a whole bunch of uses and is probably most known, at least, well, for me, I'm always looking for it. Just the other day, we had one of our kids got bitten by a wasp or a hornet or something, and it just so happened there was some plantain right nearby. We made a poultice with it, chewed it up and put it on it, and it really reduced a lot of the pain, and I think helped, because sometimes, wasp bites can bother you for quite some time. I think it really helped with that. If you have an allergic whatever situation with wasp bites and things like that, then, I'm not telling you to use plantain and not go to the hospital. Anyways, it can be used as some emergency first aid for things like bug bites and stings, cuts, scrapes, burns, blisters, poison ivy, snake bites, and stinging nettle. And the leaves contain, and I don't know if I'll say this correctly, but allantoin, which promotes healing skin, and tannin, which helps to draw tissues together. Now, plantain leaf tea, you can make a tea from the leaves, which has been used to treat all kinds of respiratory ailments, such as coughs, sore throats, and bronchitis, and laryngitis, which is interesting to me, particularly right now with the smoky conditions that we have. It's August 2023. I'm in the central Okanagan. We're just dealing with some pretty bad fires in the area right now, and so it's pretty smoky, and I don't know if you can tell. There's actually like 2 more sets of mountains over there that I can normally see, but because of the smoke. And this today, I'm not complaining actually. Today, this isn't too bad. It's been much worse on a lot of other days lately. So plantain can be an expectorant, so you can make a tea from the leaves, which is soothing and moistening to the lungs. And being an expectorant, what that does, it can help you to cough things out. It's also a demulcent, which soothes mucous membranes, so it can help to moisten the mucous membranes of your lungs, and then being an expectorant can help you to cough things out. So it can, for dry and irritated throats and lungs. Also, it's good for, say, if you have like the nagging cough that can stick around after you've been sick. Plantain, the tea made from the leaves, can help with that. The lighting's not so good, so I don't know if you can see this one as well, but it's like a real monster of a plantain plant. It's thriving here. It does well, because it happened to come up this year. I've been trying to plant it in our yard for years, and then this year somehow it managed to come up, and now we've got it just thriving in here. Giant leaves. It's as big as my hand, and interestingly, I think, this one, I think the Narrowleaf Plantain probably got here. I found some when I was out, and I transplanted them here in the yard, and I think the seeds must have spread in here because I didn't plant them there. But anyway, plantain also has been used for things like gastrointestinal issues. Teas or tinctures have been used to relieve issues such as diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut, and for healing bleeding mucous membranes. Also, the plantain seeds, and there's some of them there. So like these are like the pods, seed pods. You can see on the leaf there's the little seeds next to the open seed pods. The plantain seeds, they're mucilaginous and have been used to relieve constipation. But what you should do if you were to use plantain seeds, they absorb a lot of water. So if they were to be used, like they absorb water and expand. So if they were to be used to relieve constipation, then you should drink a lot of water. There's Lily, she's supervising. Hey, pup. Plantain is generally considered safe, but if it can take up heavy metals from the soil, so just be cautious about where you're harvesting it from. And otherwise, I think it's, generally considered a pretty safe plant to use. So if you liked the video, then please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.